Well, I had done my MBA studies in the UK, and the reason that I'd studied overseas was that I knew that I wanted to be working overseas after I finished. And so I kind of had made some strategic choices early on that would set me up for being able to work in an emerging market, hopefully. So when I was kind of exploring opportunities, Deloitte within South Africa has a very special service line called Innovation, and it happens to be the global center of expertise for Deloitte. So within Deloitte Innovation, the business model is about starting new businesses for existing companies. So it's kind of a cross between being entrepreneurial, but then also getting the structure of working in a more corporate environment, and of course having all the advantages of being a consulting firm. So that really appealed to me, and once I kind of started learning more about what the innovation service line was all about, I was very keen to do it. So it's quite exciting because this kind of a business model now, within global strategy and operations, they're trying to roll out a similar service line offering to all of the other Deloitte countries. But what's nice about doing this within South Africa is that there's so much market opportunity. So it's it's a nice area of the business in which to be working, because you get good hands-on experience and fantastic opportunities to be relating with and working with executives and client companies, and it's just been a very fruitful, kind of productive kind of experience for me. What has made me stay at Deloitte? Well, I've had a really great experience with the kinds of people that I've worked with on my teams here. Just from the project directors to the director that I'm working with, it's been fantastic to be able to work with people who are embracing of different skill sets and talents and abilities. And Thomas, the director to whom I report, has often said, no, his strategy is to surround himself with really bright people. And it's amazing to have that kind of a culture within your team. So we've different projects that we've worked on, just having people where you can sit down and really get into doing the work, and it's, you're bouncing ideas off of each other and spending sometimes some late nights together, but also really great people to have fun with too, and getting together with for coffees on the weekends and kind of more social stuff as well. So it's been a nice combination of that, but the people are definitely very inspiring in that way, and I appreciate kind of the openness or flexibility about the way that we work with each other. It's structured, but there's also an amount of freedom or flexibility in it. One of the great things that we do within Deloitte Consulting is ongoing performance management conversations. So, the project director will sit down once a week or once every 2 weeks and say, okay, how are things going? Here are some things that I think you've been doing well. Here are some things that I think you can do better. And we've had some people who've joined our teams from the outside who've said, it's amazing how you guys have this culture where you're checking in with each other and you kind of know exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And having that ongoing feedback really helps myself, but then also helps the people that I'm directly managing. So it just keeps the communication lines open in a nice way. So if there's work that has to be done, we work late, but then there's also no pressure. If you have stuff to do and your work is done, there's no expectation that you're necessarily just sitting around and spending FaceTime at the office. You can go home when your work is done. So, sometimes that means late, and it doesn't all the time either. So it's a nice balance. How has my educational background helped me to succeed? I've been really fortunate in the sense of having had some really great experiences to study in different places and with fantastic people. And I think that one of the things that you start learning early on is the sense of humility, that very rarely are you always the smartest person in the room. And, I shouldn't even say that just never happens really. So you kind of get used to working with very talented people who can add so much. And I think that you start developing the habit of expecting that there's kind of a treasure trove waiting in somebody else that you can tap into. Maybe they are super interested in astronomy, or maybe they're brilliant mathematicians, or you never know what somebody else's interests and abilities may be. And so I think the experience of studying together with bright people and having to go through the rigorous effort of really honing in on different subjects, some of which you're not always comfortable with, but you've got to do. It really helps you to respect people's different areas of talent and ability. And that's important because now, I mean, we work on projects and maybe there will be a subject area that I need to quickly get myself up to speed about, and I don't know anything about it initially, but you come to rely on the sense that, okay, I know that I can find this information, and I know people that I can talk to find this information, and you start learning the confidence in how you learn so that you can apply that to a job and to your work. So that's very important in terms of, not just the practical stuff of, you learn the subject of maths and you need to know that, but it's also just learning the habit of learning and learning the habit of respecting what other people have learned and what they can bring to your team. So I think that those things coming out of Stanford and Oxford have been some of the most beneficial. So why am I here at Deloitte in South Africa? One of the unique things about the business division in which I'm working is that within innovation, which is the area of consulting where I'm working, we do business model innovation, and that's quite different from the other kinds of innovation work that can be done in other places. So I had the great privilege at Stanford of studying under David Kelly, who is one of the founders of IDEO, and we learned a lot about the methodology of doing innovation mostly around product. And when you talk about something as ephemeral as innovation, then often those conversations are about how do you change this product to be different, or how do you meet this customer need by creating a product. And what's unique about what we're doing within South Africa and Deloitte Innovation is looking at business model. So saying, whether it's mobile banking to penetrate unbanked people within South Africa and Africa, or looking at different ways of bringing energy efficiency into business practices or residential consumers. Just really looking at what are the ways that you can fundamentally change the way that you're doing business. And that's such a unique value proposition, and it's also a really challenging work environment. So I find myself being constantly engaged with what I'm doing, and it's always something different. So you have the opportunity to work on a lot of different subject areas and with other bright and interesting people. So for those reasons, it's been a really fantastic experience. And the rest of the firm is also going to be rolling out a similar kind of innovation program, and I think globally. And I think that it's a really incredible competency, and it's a nice part of the business to be working in.